Good morning, everybody. So this is going to be me going over the answers to this worksheet, and hopefully I get it done in the 15 minutes that I have. Otherwise, there might be a part two. And then expect that we're going to have a quiz on this tomorrow. So I will have a Zoom today at 4:30 if anybody needs some help. So if we take a look, I'm going to go over each problem. So question number one, we've got 2 mapping onto 1. We have 3 mapping on to -3. We have -1 mapping onto 1, but instead of having that one, let's just go back to this original one right here. And then we have 3 mapping onto 2, but I already have a 3 over here, so that means that's going to map on here. So we have a 1 to many going to the right, and we have a many to 1 going to the right here as well. And remember that many always outdoes the 1. And so this is a many to many situation. And so we would say that x is not a function of y because for, oops, that's not it, some y values, there are more than one x value. And then the same in reverse, y is not a function of x, and it's going to be exactly the same answer, but we would say for some x values, there is more than one y value because the x is now my domain. All right, so for question number 2, if we let x be the domain and y be the range, then we're talking about a vertical line test. So if I do a vertical line right here, do you see that I can hit more than one point at a time? And so, sorry, I need to go answer these real quick. So y is not a function of x because there are some x values that have more than one y value. Now, if I turn and make y the domain and x the range, now we're talking about horizontal line test. And if I do that, I only hit exactly one point at a time. And so x is a function of y. So again, I'm going to save a little time. The reason here would be that for some x values, there's more than one y value. But for b, for every y value, there is exactly one x value. So coming down here for question number 3, we're going to use the window frame convention. So I'm going to take a moment to add in these window frames. All right, so you'll notice that I added in the written answers to the above. So if you want to pause it, you can check that. And then I also added in the window frames for question number 3. So taking a look at this one, do you see that for A, we have a stopping point here or a starting point here, but over here it touches the window frame. So it's going to keep going on forever. So that means that we're going to begin at a fixed point. And then it goes to infinity. So if I take my pen, I start at this fixed x point, and then I keep going to infinity to the right. Then for my range, do you see that we stop at this maximum point right here? So we go from negative infinity and stop at a maximum point. Maximum point and goes to infinity. Sorry, I did that backwards. All right, so we had a phone call interruption, so let me start this over again. So my range is going to start from this negative infinity and go to this maximum point. So begins at negative infinity and goes, oops, can't spell today, to a maximum point. All right, so for the next ones, I'm just going to talk these out, and then at the end, I'll add in the words. So for question B, do we see that the left-hand side hits that window frame? So it would continue on forever. And it also hits the window frame here, but it lets us know that we have an asymptote. So that means that we do have a boundary on the right-hand side. So my domain is starting from negative infinity and heading towards this boundary. And then my range starts from negative infinity and goes to positive infinity. On the next one, this is implying that it's going to continue in the same manner that it was already doing. So it's kind of like a sine or a cosine function that got translated up a little bit. And so what that means is my domain doesn't have any restrictions. So that's going to be from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then my range is going to start at a minimum value and end at that maximum value. And then for D, we have this asymptote here. So that means that this is going to stop at this fixed point, even though I have that asymptote there. And then over here, this is going to continue on and on forever. And so that means that my domain is going to start at this fixed point right here. So the asymptote doesn't even come into play. And then I have x values for everything to the right of that. And then my range is going to start at this minimum value here, and it's going to go on to infinity here. All right, so I have added in the words so that you can see what that would look like on the test or on the quiz. So then moving on to question number 4, it says, how can we describe the indicated section on the real number line using interval notation? So if interval notation is not appropriate, what list can we describe to use it? So in question number 7, I have an interval to the left and I have an interval to the right that I need to describe, and the union of the two is going to give me my solution. So from the left, we're starting from negative infinity and we're ending at 7, and 7 is not included. And the second interval on the right is starting at 7, not included, and going to positive infinity. So if I take the union of the two, then I have my interval notation for the entire number line. Question number B, we don't have these dots connected, we just have those dots. And if I have 2 dots in the middle, that means that this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 2, for example. So that means that it would be a list. So 0 is one of my numbers, 1 is one of my numbers, 2 is a number, and 3 is a number. And that's all that we would have on that number line. So for C, again, I have an interval here I need to describe and an interval here that I need to describe. So if I do that, the interval on the left is starting from negative infinity, and it's stopping at negative 3, but negative 3 is included, so I'm going to use the box parentheses. And then on the right, 5 is not included, so I'm going to use the regular parentheses, and it goes to infinity. So if I do the union of the two, then I have the answers for the entire number line. All right, so then looking at the next page, this one is saying express the following sets in interval notation, and if it's not appropriate, write the set as a list. So this is exactly the same as the previous problems, just without the number line. So if we take a look at this one, this is saying all the numbers between -5 and +2 where 2 is not included. So it's just one interval that we're talking about. And so it's going to start at -5 included and go to +2 not included. For B, it says all non-negative real numbers. So if we look on the number line, 0 is what splits me from being positive to negative. So positive numbers are non-negative, 0 is non-negative, but negative numbers are not non-negative, if that makes any sense. So that means that we're starting at 0 included and we're going to positive infinity. So the next one says x greater than 1 where x is an integer. So where it says that it's an integer, that tells me that I have to make a list. And my list is going to be starting. So this is all the x values greater than 1. So that means 1 is not included, so I'm not going to put it in my list. So the first integer that is greater than 1 is going to be 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then so on and so forth. So the next one says, so it's essentially all real numbers where x does not equal -4 and does not equal +1. So on a number line, I would have an open circle at 4 and an open circle at 1. So that means that I have 1, 2, 3 intervals to describe. So the first interval is this one to the left that is starting at negative infinity and finishing at a 4, and 4 is not included. The middle interval I need to describe is starting at 4 and finishing at 1, where 1 is not included. And the interval to the right is going to start at 1 and go to infinity. And again, infinity is an idea, not a number. And so we wouldn't put closed parentheses around there. So if I union these 3 intervals, then that describes them on the number line. So question 6a, is talking about the interval of the domain, explaining it in words, and then writing it on a number line. So this is saying all real numbers, and I'll write this down at the end, all real numbers between -2 and +1, where -2 is included, but +1 is not. So I would have a closed circle at -2 with an open circle at +1. On the next one, we're starting from -infinity, and we're finishing at +3. So this would be 3 right here, and so that's what it would look like. So this would be all real numbers less than or equal to -3. So here are the written answers. So notice when I say between, that's implying that -2 and 1 are not part of the solution. So by adding in including -2, then that means that I have a closed circle at -2. On this one, I don't need to say including -3 because when I said less than, I also said or equal to. So that's implying the including. So taking a look at question number 7, we want to identify the domain and range for each function and express it in interval notation. So on this one, we would have an open circle at 2, and there's x values to the left of 2 and x values to the right of 2. So that's going to be from -infinity to 2, union with from 2 to infinity. My range values, what seems to be happening is I'm starting at this asymptote, that's the x-axis, and I'm going above, and it doesn't look like it's ever going to touch the x-axis if we look at that window frame. And so that means that it's going to be from 0 to infinity, where 0 is not included. So taking a look at B, if I look just at the x values, I have x values from here and then stopping at -1, and then I have x values from here and on. So that means it's going to be from -infinity to -1 not included, union with from 2 to infinity, where 2 is included. And then for my range, I have points at 3, and then I have points here at 2, and then this is going to go on forever, so that would go on forever. So this would be a closed circle at -2 going to infinity because it includes the 3 and it goes beyond from this graph over here. So for C, we hit that window frame on the left-hand side. So in terms of the x value, I have x values all the way until I hit x equal to 5. So that's from -infinity to 5. And since that's an open circle, it's going to be an open parentheses. And then for the y values, it looks like it's going to continue to go on like this. And so my y values is going to start at a minimum of -1, and it's going on to infinity. So that's going to be -1 to infinity. Now, if you interpreted this as something that was making a pattern, you could have said from -1 to +3 as well. Okay. So then taking a look at question number 8, it says, in what cases are domains of real valued functions restricted? And so that's when we could possibly divide by 0. When we take the even root of a negative, or when we take the log of 0 or a negative. And the reason is that real numbers are not closed under those values.